Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Tales from the Beeyard. It's just over a week after I installed that last nuke. So today we're going to be doing a 1-week hive inspection. This time of year, you kind of want to be inspecting your hives about once a week. Once we start getting into July, I'll only have to do it once every 2 weeks. So we're going to take a look at the girls and see how they're doing. The hive I'm going to inspect first is my iris hive, the one these guys have, they're probably about 4 weeks along now. I'm hoping that we can throw in a honey super today, so I'll explain to you guys what that is. And then we'll go and we'll check the daffodil hive that we just installed last week and see how those girls are doing. So let's go see how everyone is. Okay, so here are my Daffodil girls. Just you can see there's a lot more activity at the hive entrance than compared to over my Daffodil girls there, but that's most likely because these guys are quite a bit ahead. Now I've taken off what's called the entrance reducer. The entrance reducer is great to put on when you first install the nukes. You know, like I said, it gives them a small space to defend. With this heat that we're having, however, we definitely wanted to take those off to make sure that the hive doesn't get too overheated. So we're going to give these girls just a little bit of a smoke here. Okay, so now when we first take the top of the hive off, this is what we're looking like underneath. Now this plastic frame that you see here, this is called a queen excluder. And this is, it's got spaces big enough so that the worker bees can get in and out of the hive, but that the queen kind of stays down below. The reason for this is that so when you put on your honey supers, that the queen cannot get up there and start laying eggs. So it just ensures that all of your honey stays in the same spot and you're not mixing it in with any of your brood where she's laying eggs. So let's take the top of this lid off here. And it's a little sticky coming up, which is good because that's, you can see all the pollen that they're building underneath. So this is really awesome. These girls definitely seem like they're doing pretty well. So we're just gonna rest this down here and we always want to do everything we can to make sure that we're not squishing any of the girls while we're in here. So these guys also had to put a pollen patty on and they're almost done that, so that's amazing. And even just by looking at them from when I had first put them in, these guys have kind of exploded. So I'm really hopeful and thinking that I can put my honey super on today. And yeah, so let's start going through the frames and see what these girls are doing. Okay, so the first thing that we do before we start pulling any of the frames is exactly what I was talking about last time. We just want to give the girls a bit of a smoke. So yeah, they get a little loud and crazy. But what this is going to do is that this is just going to force the girls kind of down into those frames a little bit more, making it a little bit easier for me to pick up. Again, the smoke is not harmful to them. There's no chemicals in it. It is literally just straw in my smoker. All right, oh, you can see some honey right on top there. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. We got some girls there who are eating away. Isn't that cute? Hopefully you can see their little tiny little proboscis sticking out and eating the honey. This is one of the reasons why I love these girls. Who knew bees were so cute? Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm crazy, but hopefully you guys agree with me. Okay, so it looks like, so you can see they haven't started drawing any comb out yet. That's just kind of the wax base of the thing, but there are a lot of bees on there. So this is definitely a board that they are going to be getting ready to draw out soon, which is a great sign. Number 2. Okay. So the side that I'm looking at right now, they're just starting to build the comb on it. You can see where the foundation is, and then you can also see where the wax, they're starting to build it up just a little bit. So these foundation frames are great because they give the bees just kind of a good footprint, and it makes it easier for them to start building their comb a lot faster. So we'll see what's happening on the other side here. Yep, so it looks like that side that you guys were looking at, we've actually got some honey that we're starting to build up in that one top corner and in the other corner. So that's great. That's really awesome to see that. This is not a frame I expect to be seeing the queen on because there's no eggs in here and it's not a fully drawn out frame yet. But we're still just going to place this back in the hive. Now this next frame definitely feels like it's drawn out. It's very heavy. It is very full with bees. Oh. Wow. Okay. So the side that I am looking at is pretty much fully drawn out with comb. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of new larvae in here, which is amazing. I am so happy to see that. That means that our queen is laying and doing a good job because we've got some little tiny larvae in there. We've got some slightly bigger ones. So this is a frame that our queen has been laying on. So let's see if, oh, there she is. Okay, I'm gonna flip her over. Actually, hold on here. Where is she? Okay. There she is. There is my Queen Iris working on their frames. So you guys can see the difference from the queens compared to the workers. You can see how much longer her abdomen is. So this long abdomen allows her to reach the very bottom of the honey, the cells, the comb cells, and that's where she will lay her egg in there. So, and only her abdomen is big enough to get all the way to the bottom. Now, sometimes when she's walking around, you can see her attendant bees that will be kind of looking after her and attending to all of her needs. So they do everything. So I'm so happy that we found her so quickly. The fact that she's on the second frame that I pulled and that there's all these larvae means that she is a great queen and she is doing her job. So this is so exciting. I'm just gonna try and move. I don't know if you guys can see down in there, but see any of those baby larvae that are chilling at the bottom. Very cool. And again, there is Queen Iris doing her job. So I'm just going to take a quick look at the back of this one. But really, by finding her so fast and seeing that I have some fresh larvae, really I don't even need to inspect the rest of this frame. I might do quickly just to kind of see where everything's at and making sure that we're all still good. But really, right away I can tell that this hive is doing great and they're a very strong hive. Because they're drawn out to almost that last frame, I can definitely throw on my honey super for these girls today. So very exciting. Okay guys, so I just did another quick check of the not all of the frames. I only just looked at the end frames. By finding the queen and seeing larvae, I know she's doing her job, and seeing how much they've drawn out. Of the 10 frames that are in this box, they have drawn out all but 2 of them. So that means these guys are growing quick, which is awesome. So today it is time to throw on our honey super. Now, a lot of people say, what is a honey super? All the honey super is so that's this top section of the box here. And honey super just refers to the term that it is a box that has nothing but honey in it, as opposed to our box down here below, which is a lot deeper, and this is called your brood chamber. So you want to have the deeper frames in your brood chamber because you want more room for the queen to lay. But because those honey frames get really, really heavy, it's better to have so this is a medium box. That's and this one's great. So we've got the empty frames here, all ready to go. So like I said, these it's just it's like a plastic with a wax coating on top of it, and this just gives the bees a really good start. So we're gonna start throwing our frames in here. And yeah, so we'll fill that up and then close these girls up. Okay guys, so I've got all of my honey super frames in. We're all ready to go. So we're just gonna put the lid back on, close these girls up, and come back next week and see how far along we are. But I am really happy to see their progress. These guys are doing great. So as a new beekeeper, that makes me so happy. So yep, we'll close these girls up. And now that, because I got the honey super on, I can stop feeding them. We're still in a bit of a nectar flow right now. But they've got enough stores and they're doing well enough that they don't need me to keep feeding them. So we're gonna take the feeders off. We got the supers on now, and let's see you in a week. Time to move on to our daffodil hive and see how those girls are doing over there a week into their new home. Okay, so here are our daffodil girls. Definitely not as much entrance at the hive, but remember they are still a fairly new colony, so they are still building their numbers. We are only a week, or just over a week, into putting them in. So let's take off the top and open everything up and see what we've got. Okay, so here are my daffodil girls. You guys can see the difference in the two colonies. So the other one being just a couple weeks ahead of this one, and you can see the difference. You can already tell that these frames are probably not fully drawn out, not even close, but again, they've already been here in a week. So let's start pulling out frames and see just how far along these girls are. Okay, so I've pulled the first two frames out, and as expected, there's nothing on them. Like I said, these girls have only been in here a week, so I wasn't anticipating too much. Nothing on the back side, but you can see this is great. Great news that we are drawing comb on the other side, so this is fantastic. Happy to see that we are actually starting to draw out new frames. The colony that I replaced these guys with, or I replaced the other guys, these guys with them, sorry, they had been in here 3 weeks and hadn't even drawn out any new comb. So that for me is huge. To see that even within 1 week, we are already drawing out new frames. That's great. That's a really good sign for me. Okay, so again, oh, this nice heavy frame again. I'm going to be explaining to you what I see on the back side while I'm showing you guys what's on the front side. So let's just try and do this here. Okay, this might be easier. Okay, so I've got a lot of capped brood on this side, and I've got honey on the outside. I only have, I can see one drone cell, so that is good that I'm not seeing too many. I can't quite see to the bottom of the cells, so I can't see if I've got any new eggs in there or not. Give these guys a spin around so you guys can see what I was talking about. While I was looking at that, you guys were looking at a side that, oh, we've got some baby bees emerging. This is great. Time for the next frame. I actually had to take a quick stop because, well, it's probably feeling about 35 degrees out today, so it's a little warm. All right. Okay, the frame that I'm looking at, we got pretty much almost a full frame of capped brood with some honey and pollen stores on the side. So that's good. I'm seeing some drones. Okay, we'll spin around, see what you guys were looking at. Okay, so you guys are pretty much looking at the same thing, pretty much a full capped frame, but we do have some larvae in there, so that's good. I'm happy to see that. I'm not really seeing, oh, okay. I think Yes, I am seeing eggs in some of the cells. Okay, that is great. So when you find eggs in a cell, that's really what you want to look for, because that is your indication that your queen is laying. The eggs stay eggs for about 3 days. And the fact that they're laying down flat in the cell, so that tells me, so they've been laid about 3 days ago. So that's great. Happy to see that. And I'm hoping you guys are noticing too, as I'm looking at these frames, I'm hoping you can see how calm these are. I know I talked about that last time, but I've had so many comments on people mentioning about how brave I am, you know, being out here and looking at the bees like this. But really, there's no need to be so worried about things, because, you know, bees, the only time these guys are really going to sting you is if they're trying to protect themselves. And when we're going through looking at the frames like this, we're doing it in a way, you know, to minimize the stress to these guys. Okay. So right now that I've seen eggs, that's really great. I'm super happy. I have seen eggs, I have seen larvae. So really right now, the only thing that we're looking for is the queen herself, and just to check to see if they've drawn out any frames on the far side of the hive. I'm also kind of taking a look too to seeing that we're making sure that we don't have too many drone cells that are being built, and that there's not any queen cells that are being built. So queen cells are kind of really big puffy cells, and there's an indication that your hive is either wanting to swarm or replace your queen. Sometimes they'll build queen cells, you know, just in preparation in case they need them. But if you see queen cells that actually have anything laying in them, then you've got some concerns, and you really need to figure out what it is that your girls need. Okay, so we did spot the queen really quickly at the end. I was just kind of going back through the frames really again, just to kind of take a closer look, because I really wanted to try and find her. So I did. I caught a quick glimpse of her, and so that's awesome. Happy that she's in there. We're going to throw the pollen patty back on. We're going to throw our queen excluder back on, and we am going to throw our pale feeders back on as well, just because, like I said, these guys are still new. They're still drawing out a lot of comb, so we kind of want to give them all the resources to make them as successful as possible. So I'm going to close all these guys up and get them so they're all ready to get back to business. All right, everyone, so we've got both our girls are checked, both of our queens have been seen. At least we got eggs in the one, lots of good growth. So everybody's looking really good, really happy to see that. At least there's a nice cool breeze coming down. It's probably feeling like about 35, and when you're wearing that bee jacket, it gets pretty sweaty. I just kind of wanted to also just kind of end this with a little message, a little conservation message. By me getting into beekeeping, I'm not doing this as a way to save the bees. Honeybees don't necessarily need saving, as because, like I was mentioning before in my previous episode, as being a managed species, they are looked after and they are bred and they are kind of taken care of, much like you would other livestock and agriculture animals. My part for doing and trying to help and save the bees is by planting lots of native pollinator plants, and basically trying to make my property a bee friendly for more of our backyard bee species, such as bumblebees and those other ones that are actually native to Ontario. Honeybees are not native to Ontario. These girls are actually a European species that have been imported over 100 years ago. For me, the reason why I wanted to get into beekeeping is moving up here into having this big, nice, big property. I wanted to be able to eat as much off of my own land as I possibly can. So that's kind of my goal with the bees. It's something that I've always, so that's the reason why I'm on this journey, and I'm so happy that so many of you guys are loving watching this and following along, and I hope you continue to. I'm going to look at expanding this series and just trying to document kind of my new life change and my new lifestyle and everything that I've been learning and doing since I kind of moved up here to a slightly more country property. Tune in next time, guys. We'll probably be coming back in a week to do another check on the girls and see exactly just how much everybody's expanding. See you then.